y'all, I've always wanted to do a video where I kind of go through all of my plants, but I've never took the time to do that. So since this might help someone, I decided I would go ahead and do this video. So these are our tomatoes right now. This is what we're starting with. I took y'all with me and showed y'all how I start all of these from seed. And I do all of this with no artificial lighting. I do it all in a south-facing window. I use a cheap greenhouse, and I just use that just for the shelving. We actually had went to a garage sale and got another one for $5. So ours is kind of kind of a monster morphed into two that we put together, and it works really well. So we have some added space there. Other things I do not plant in like the Jiffy mix or anything like that. For one, that's really expensive, and another, I haven't had the best luck growing in it. So I just use compost that we get from a bigger city that they take like yard waste and things like that and make compost out of that. And that's what I use. So it's really cheap. This is my hobby. So we do everything on a budget. I'm trying to remember what else we do. Oh, I don't buy the expensive heat mats that you get for plants. I just use the ones that we get from like thrift stores and stuff to do that really cheap. There's certain plants that do really good with that. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. I use rainwater or filtered water. Where we're at, we have a lot of chlorine in the water, so I be sure and use things like that. And also I use these reuse these pots. Actually, this is a pepper in the tomato that shouldn't be there. So I reuse these pots, and there was a store, they were throwing away all the plants that had died and had a bunch of these, and I asked if I could have them, and they went ahead and gave them to me. So that's part of where I got some of these. Some of these are just ones that I kept from whenever I would buy certain tomatoes and peppers from the store. So I reuse these every year, and I've got a lot of use out of that. And I used to buy the trays from the farm store, but I found that they were breaking sometimes before the end of the season. So I got these white containers. I think they're like dish pans from the Dollar Tree back when the Dollar Tree was still a dollar. So I've had them for a little while, and that is what I use to bottom water. I found that that works really good. So we're going to start with the tomatoes, and I meant to grab the tape measure, but the other day I was curious how tall these plants were, and I think I measured this one, and it was like a foot 10 inches tall. Oh, Robert's got it. Here we go. Thank you. So we'll measure this one. It's not the tallest, but from the soil, we'll look here. It's like a foot 8 inches tall. So they are pretty tall. And I've got all kinds of different tomatoes, from paste tomatoes and cherry tomatoes, all kinds of different tomatoes. And this is not like the other. That is a pepper. We're going to set that over there. So I'll show a few of these. This is a sun sugar, and this is one of my children's favorite. They like the flavor of this a lot better. Let's see. So I've got a couple of these, and I know I've got a store-bought one somewhere too. I think we'll set this one out, and hopefully I will be able to find it. Ooh, they're a tangled mess. I'm also doing this because I hope to get all of these planted out this weekend. It does not want to let it go. And another thing I forgot to mention is I do all of my planting based on the garden planting calendar. That has worked really well for me. So we're going to do that. There's more sun sugars. I'm going to do several of these. This is another pepper. I did not do very good with this. I must have just threw them in here willy-nilly. I have several of these. These are the Berries Crazy Cherry. I had tried to grow this several years ago, and my plants didn't look that great, and compared to the rest of them, they still don't look that great. I was giving them a second chance this year, so we're going to try that. But they are awesome with how many tomatoes they produce and how much they put on. So we're going to set these down here. I'm going to have to do like musical plants here to try and make room for all of this. Let's see, we'll turn this around here. I have the tags this way. Oh yeah, and another thing I do is I use blinds, and that works great for tags. These will literally last years in the garden. I use blinds and a pencil, and that works great. Now this is my favorite variety of tomato. If I literally could only grow one tomato, this would be it. This is the Sun Gold tomato, and to me, these are the most prolific tomatoes you can grow, and to me, they have the best flavor as well. So I have got several of these. I started making my own sauces using the cherry tomatoes. I know it's a lot better to use paste tomatoes. That's why I'm growing more of that this year, but I made sauce with the Sun Gold tomatoes, and those were great last year. Let's see. I have lots and lots of sun golds here. All these here are sun golds. This one is a tigerella. My sister actually had brought some tomatoes down one time, and she had a ton of these. They're like a stripedy, kind of bigger cherry tomato. They're probably about that big, and she had a lot off of those. I don't know if I've ever grown them before and how much I got off of them, so we'll try and keep better records this year. And this one is a sweetheart cherry. This is one I have wanted to grow for forever. This guy saves a lot of seeds, and this was one that he has saved. I have his book and everything. I'm kind of into it. I think his name's like Will Bonsai or something like that, Bonzel, something like that. And this was one that he recommended, and I got that from Baker Creek this year. So I was really excited about that one. That one's been on my to grow list for quite some time. Okay, they are wanting to hold together. No fighting here. Let's try and get them apart. Okay, hopefully. There we go. And let's see what else we got. So this one is a candy cherry. I know I've grown that before, and I didn't do the best at note taking, so I'm gonna try and do better. Last year we did like notes on how productive they were and as far as flavor. This one here is a sweetie. I think it's just kind of like a standard cherry tomato. And these have been up potted. Let's see. I up potted them on, let's see, April. Yeah, the middle of April. And they're already this big. Today is May 9th, I believe. So we've got sweeties. This is Rutgers. This is supposed to be a really good tomato where I'm at. I know I've grown them like years and years ago, and they did pretty good. And let's see, what else is there? There's more Rutgers. Oh, yes, this is one. Let's see if there's one easier to get to. Of course not. Okay, so we'll have to dig this one out. This is a Chef's Choice Orange, and I grew one of these several years ago, and it did amazing. It had so many tomatoes on it, and I actually got one from the farm store too. They had it this year, and hopefully I can show like the difference of how the ones from the store do compared to the ones that are homegrown. I've done this before, and I'm just going to test it again. Ours usually always do better, but the good thing about the store one is they usually produce a little earlier than mine, because I don't start my tomatoes till like the middle of March. So I think that's why theirs start a little sooner. Now, this is another one that I don't usually have the best luck with, but there are certain members of the family that this is their favorite tomato. This is the Black Krim. We think this has an even better flavor than like the, what is it, Cherokee Purple that a lot of people like. We like that one even better, but it's kind of hard to grow, kind of like the Brandywines I found. Let's see, we have more Sweethearts. I was really excited about that this year. Oh, here's a better one. This is a Black Krim. That one looks a little bit better. What else? So there's more Black Krims, and another one that we grow that I actually seen that they had at the farm store is Jubilee. This is our favorite. This is a bigger orange tomato, and it has such good flavor. So we're gonna grow that one. Let's see what else. I'm boxing myself in here. Okay, on to the next one. We have a lot of tomatoes, and I grow all of mine in raised beds generally, but last year I wasn't able to grow enough of like sauce and stuff that we need for the year, so I'm going to try to grow a little in-ground in the in-ground area that I made and see how that goes. I don't know if it'll go good or not, but I'm hoping it will go good. Um, this one was new last year. I finally got it to start, and it's a little cherry tomato. I think it's called Riesentraub. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's like maybe more like a grape tomato, but it has a little pointy end to it, and they were really good. So I like that one. We have a few of those, more sun golds. These, as you can tell, those are my favorite. Oh, and another good one. So the sun, if I didn't say, the Sun Gold tomatoes and the Sun Sugar tomatoes are orange cherry tomatoes, and this is Super Sweet 100. These are a red cherry tomato, and these are really prolific too. These aren't my favorite as far as flavor, but there are some family members that really like it. So we're going to go ahead and keep growing that one. More Super Sweet 100s, more Rutgers. We went over that. And yeah, more Super Sweet 100s, but they look really good. I know some of these leaves need to be taken off, and that, I also, whenever I plant these, especially if I'm planting, let me show you, well, they just want to hold on to each other. Especially if I'm planting in my raised bed, I take these bottom leaves off and I'll plant it deeper. I probably won't do that with my in-ground garden because it's clay down pretty far, so I probably won't do that for there. So we're gonna go through these last tomatoes here. Okay, so now we're on to the paste tomatoes, and I have had not the best luck with paste tomatoes, so we are gonna try this year with some different brand or varieties. This one's Tachi. I got all of these from Haas Tools. One of these, it's either the Tachi or the Shelby, and I cannot remember which, but I want to say it was the Tachi. Was supposed to be a really good paste variety for the South. It's supposed to have a lot of disease resistance. So this is the Shelby. It's not happy with me. I just pulled it out of there. But that's the other paste tomato I have. And I did also do Amish paste, but I think this is all I have in here. Shelby and Tachi. And then let's see what we have here. This one looks really healthy. And this is one that I have wanted to grow for a long time. I had seeds and the plant didn't do that great. It's called Triple Crop, and it almost looks more like a potato leaf variety, and it's supposed to have really big tomatoes on it, so I'm really excited about that. I kind of grow for production and flavor, so both of those things really matter to us, so I'm trying to take really good notes of that this year. Let's see, lots of triple crops because I was really excited about that. This is called Bonnie's Best. These seeds were probably from like 2016, 2018. So tomato seeds last a really long time and grow for, you can get them to germinate even if they're really old. But this is Bonnie's Best. A lot of people like this for a canning tomato. Like I said, I haven't experimented a whole lot with sauces until last year, so I don't really know how well that's going to work, but these did okay for me. I'm giving them another shot before I completely write them off. Let's see. Oh, yes. Another one that are family members' favorites, and these really are very, very good, especially as far as flavor goes, is Snow White. They are not very good with production, and they also die a lot sooner for me, but they are very, very good for flavor. And we also got some store-bought ones of those. We're going to do side-by-side comparisons in the garden beds. Let's see, I can't even see what that is. More Snow Whites. Okay, good. More triple crops. And yep, more Bonnie's Bell. So that's all that's in there, and I've got one more here. And I think, hey, Robert, could you hand me that over there? I have boxed myself in, and he's going to hand me something. So I was going to show, no, this tomato right here. Sorry about hitting the mic there. Thank you. Is that a Sun Sugar? Yeah. So this is a Sun Sugar we had got from the grocery store, or like the farm store. And then this is our Sun Sugar. So I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. See how this one has already got tomatoes on it? So that's one of the reasons why I like getting the ones from the store. But honestly, it's like, I think I had checked it one time and it was like 2, maybe 3 weeks difference. So that's what ours look like. That's a really good thing about growing your own, is the plants are really, really healthy. So I don't remember where I got that from, but we'll just set it right here for right now. Other ones, let's see. I'll just show you some of the store-bought ones. I know they don't look the healthiest. I always have issues with blight. This is also a Snow White. And then I got a new one called Jelly Bean. And then let's see. I got the Chef's Choice Yellow or Orange, I think it is. Yeah, it says yellow. Mine might be orange, so I may not have got the exact same kind. This is a new one to me called Brad's Atomic Grape. I actually got these seeds at the Dollar General, and I've never tried these before, but this is a pretty big grape tomato, and they're purple. And I noticed all of the stalk is purple too. I think it's just because of the variety, because none of my other tomatoes are that way. And let's see, what else do we have? I think that might be it. Oh yes, one other one. I haven't grown in a while, and I thought I would give it a try. This one's probably not my best example. Yeah, this one's a little better. We'll show it. This is Better Boy. These are kind of like your classic Better Boy, Big Boy, Celebrity, those types of things, and they usually produce really, really well. But as far as flavor, I'm still kind of on the fence if they're my favorite. So I'm going to do a better job about tracking that this year. I did that last year with some of the ones we grew. Like some of our favorites were like the chocolate tomato. We did that, and it does really good as far as flavor, but the production is not great. So I think I went over all of my tomatoes that I can see here. Hopefully I remembered everything. If I forgot a few, y'all just be sure and subscribe, and I will show them in our garden tours. Okay, we'll be back in just a minute, and I'll set up our peppers. Okay, now we're on to our peppers, and this is actually something that we grow enough of that we don't have to buy from the store anymore. Our family members, most of them don't like onions, so this is a really big staple crop for us. So we're going to go over which ones we have. We grow mostly a few varieties that are our most favorite. So the first one that we grow is the King Arthur. It's already starting to put on peppers, and I potted these into 6-inch pots. Some of these may even be bigger than that, but these, we have grown enough of peppers for the past few years for our family, and King Arthur is one of our #1 tops. This is always my biggest plant in the garden, and it produces these big green bell peppers, and it is super prolific. I am shocked at the difference this is compared to like the California Wonders. I have grown those before, and they are no comparison to how much better these produce. So whenever I talk about varieties, this is one of the ones that's like a good comparison, that shows that it really does make a difference which variety to use. So I have quite a few of these. I think all of these are King Arthur. Yes, so I've got 6 King Arthur here, and they look really, really good. Like, look at that. I wanted to be sure and get these plants bigger. Last year I started them in March whenever I did my tomatoes, and I have issues with bunnies. While they're very cute, they can be very destructive, and they have already been eating some of my sweet potatoes out there, but they did that last year, so hopefully they'll be okay this year. But last year they topped all of my peppers, and I know a lot of people like to do that, and they say that they have more production when they do that. We have experimented with this and found the complete opposite. Even with like tomatoes, people say to take the suckers off and your tomatoes do better. And I found that it's actually quite the opposite. I don't get nearly as much production, and we have experimented with this several years, and we keep coming to the same results. So I do not like to do that. So of course I wanted my peppers to be bigger, so hopefully the bunnies don't do that. So we have our just classic green bell peppers, and we grow a lot of those, and we even in the summertime we like prep and make stuffed peppers that we keep since they're nice and fresh, and we keep those in the freezer for like a nice meal, the easy fast meal, convenience meal. And let's see. Okay, so our probably most favorite, honestly, versus the King Arthur, while it's a good classic green pepper, our most favorite is the gypsy pepper. And this pepper is awesome. It is a like super prolific. We thought the King Arthur was prolific, but this is even more so. And it holds up really well in the heat. We still have to water because where we're at, it gets really, really hot, but they hold up really good compared to some varieties. And the production off of this is just outstanding. And on top of that, this has the absolute best flavor. We did a comparison where we made pepper poppers, and this scored really high, whereas the King Arthur, that was the lowest. So we made a bunch of different kinds, and this has just been a favorite. We love it, and it's not a classic bell pepper. It doesn't get that big. I don't know if it's considered more of a banana pepper. I don't think so because, well, let me see. I can try and show you. They're about, if you get big ones, they're about yay big and probably about that long. And they stay this yellowy color. So maybe they would be more of a banana pepper. I don't know. But they are so good. And oh, another good thing about these peppers, and these are all sweet peppers. We don't grow any hot peppers. One year we did that and we had them crossed midsummer. And since this is a staple crop, that was a big issue for us. So we have decided since then we are not going to grow hot peppers. But the good thing about these gypsy peppers is they are a super thick wall. That's another reason we like the King Arthur bell peppers. They are super great. And I know a lot of people like the shishito pepper, and those are like paper thin. And to me, it's almost like not worth it for the effort that goes into it, not only growing it and like cutting it up and using it in like dishes and stuff, that it is so not worth it. So we really, really like those big, thick walled, and these are really sweet too. The gypsy peppers, they are really, really good. So I've got, I think, 6 of the gypsy peppers here. So we got more of those, and they're already putting peppers on. I'm really excited. These are going to be getting to grow out into the garden really soon. And let's see, we have more gypsy peppers. Let's see. Yes, I think all of these are gypsies. Yep. And let's see, here we go. This is one we're gonna try. We had got at the farm store. It's a golden California Wonder, and maybe I can show the difference between the California Wonders and the King Arthurs because they just do not produce nearly as well. But we're gonna give it a try and see. We always try new things. And another one that we really like that I couldn't get my seeds to germinate. My seeds were like from, I think, 2019, and I have the worst time with getting pepper seeds that are older to germinate. I've found that like 2 years old is about the best that I get. They really go downhill after that. But this is the Corno de Toro, and I think it's an Italian pepper, but this scored pretty high with a few of us whenever we did our pepper popper trials. So since it didn't germinate, I decided to pick one up at the store. And I think everything else is gypsy peppers. Okay, so that's what we have there. I'm going to box myself in again, I guess. And this is another one that we really like. These are insanely thick, the pimento peppers, and they are really, really good as pepper poppers. So we got one of these at the store because I forgot and totally flaked and did not get a few of our favorite seeds. I tried to save seeds from the yum yum peppers, and I was not happy with what we ended up with last year with our yum yum peppers. I don't know if it's because it's a hybrid. I've done that with sun golds and not had an issue, but last year I did. So I decided, or I meant to get some seeds for those, and I did not. I totally flaked on that. So we don't have the yum yum peppers, and those are like the sweetest peppers ever. They literally feel like they have been watered with sugar water. They are so sweet, but they're super tiny. So that's the kind of negative to it, but they are so good. Okay, so another one, let's see, here's more gypsies. As you can tell, we really, really love gypsy peppers. So I think, yeah, all the rest of this are gypsies. And I know it's a lot of plants, and we probably don't need this many plants, but since it's a staple, I like to try and make sure that there's plenty. Like I was saying, we have bunny issues, so you never know. I guess I got, unless if I'm going through the same one, this is another Corno de Toro plant pepper, and it may be the same one. I'm not sure. Oh, I don't think so. Okay, so a new one. Since we like the King Arthur, we decided to try this Hausinator bell. I've never done this before. This is from Haus Tools. So we are going to put it up next to the King Arthur's and see how it's going to do. Now, I know I haven't potted this one up, but this is the comparison so far. So the King Arthurs are definitely a bigger plant, but we will see how that goes. You never know. It's always good to try new things. If we wouldn't have tried new things, we wouldn't have known about all of these other good varieties. And let's see, here's more Hausinator bell. And the cool thing, they put a little tag in with their seed packets. That was really cool. You only get one though. And another one, since I totally flaked on getting some of our other favorites, another one we liked was a Tricked You. It's like a heatless jalapeno, and I love those in our pepper poppers. And this one is a heatless habanero. I've never grown this one before, so this is a new one to try. Hopefully it does really well. And I'm also going to trial these in the ground too, in my in-ground garden, and see how they do. And I think this is our last peppers. The rest of those were just the same ones that we had went over before. And okay, so we've got, this is a new variety that I had seen from Baker Creek. It's called a, if I'm pronouncing it right, it's called a Lisa pepper. And it says on there that it is a very, very sweet pepper. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's kind of a purpley color too. And I was, since they said that, and it was also supposed to have super thick walls. So since they said that, I thought I would give it a try since it's like an heirloom variety. And let's see, there was another one we grew, gypsies. This is another one. I did not have the best germination with these. This is a Zulu. It's a super dark purple pepper, and we were just excited about it. We really love purple plants, so I decided we'd try that. I've got a couple of those. Those I didn't have the best germination out of, and actually, I don't know about y'all, but I sometimes do not have the best germination with Baker Creek seeds. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or what. And here is another example. So let's see, let me find them. Actually, it's in this other one. These are the Long Island cheese pumpkins. I put 4 seeds in here. I'm dripping water all over myself. I put 4 seeds in here, and I've only got 1 to sprout. So I knew I had done this before and they did not germinate very well. So I'm trying it again, and I only have a few plants. Like I planted 1, 2, 3, 4. I planted 4 4-inch containers, and I put 4 seeds in each container, and I have a total of 3 Long Island cheese pumpkins. And the same thing, I had this Dixon pumpkin that I have been wanting to try for a really long time, and I did not get anything out of it. And I planted 4 of those. And I know the seeds are a little old. I think I got them in 2020, 2021, but I did not have good germination rate on that at all. And they're all treated the same, like all in the containers, same soil, everything. But I did have a lemon squash that I had got from them. I didn't have the best production out of it. I'm going to give it a try again and see if it's any better this year. But I have a couple of those. And last year, we were able to grow enough of pumpkins off of just this, what is it, the Amish paste pie pumpkin. So I saved seeds from it, and we're going to grow that again this year too. So hopefully we will have a more than enough of pumpkins with all of these plants. Here's another pie pumpkin, and I grew enough pretty much with 1 plant. We still had a little bit left over, so that helped too, but hopefully with all of these plants we'll have enough. I also have a little bit of basil and dill, and I still have I have all my flowers out there. I'm not going to get those planted out now. I plant those out on the flowering days of my planting calendar. I don't know if I mentioned very much about that, but I plant all of this based on our planting calendar, and I use the moon phases and the astrological signs to track what days are best to plant when. There are certain days that are best to plant above ground crops and below ground crops, and also flowering days are days that are best to plant nothing. Those are the days that I do all of my weeding, and I make videos where I show what those days are in my calendar, and I do a video where I show that each month. So y'all be sure and subscribe, and y'all can see all of these plants growing really good. I'm not the best at taking records with like the harvest. I'm gonna try and be better, but I don't want my family to feel like they can't just walk out into the garden and have whatever they want. So I'm not super strict on that. So we'll just get what we can get as far as harvest records. But last year we did pretty good. Like I said, we grew enough of peppers and sweet potatoes. We did pumpkins. We grow enough of peas. They're just now starting to put on right now. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Hopefully we'll have enough of tomatoes. But yeah, we really enjoy gardening, and I try and make videos, kind of garden related videos. So if y'all would like to, be sure and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what y'all think of all the plants, if any of these are your favorites or what your favorites are, because I love trying new things. Thank y'all all so much for watching, and y'all take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye.